Hey guys, Mozu and Negron Tech here, and today what you're seeing is my Falconer Explosive Trapper. As soon as I saw Falconer, I was like, you know what? I want to make an Explosive Trapper. I want that to be the main skill, and I want to clear the Monolith, the map, with massive explosives and chaining traps, and I want it to be awesome, right? Or at least that's what I thought it was. So, before I get into the build, I just want to really quick talk about how theory crafting and character building in Last Epoch is actually very unique. And me coming from 7 years of Path of Exile from ARPGs, it really is so much more of a polar opposite compared to PoE, where I am simplifying this, but PoE really comes down to I'm going to pick one skill, and that's really the core identity of the skill. Like, there are other things that go into it, but really it's like one skill. Last Epoch is really not like that. Last Epoch character builds, the theory crafted, it really relies around the totality of the build, kind of like my Chaos Bolter, my Warlock. I wanted to make a Warlock Chaos Bolter, but doing just Chaos Bolt is not enough to carry the build. There's so many more things with the curses, the triggers, getting other sources of on-hit damage and dots that are going to supplement the main skill, right? So Last Epoch, you have to, and me, this took me a minute, you got to get rid of that idea like, oh, Explosive Trap, that's my build. Like, it doesn't work that way. There's so much more that you're going to have to invest to make one skill viable and then supplement the damage with other factors too, and I'm going to get into that here. So the first big problem with Explosive Trap is the damage is really not good. The reason why is because I guess Last Epoch, when they tuned Falconer, the issue is that this is both a big negative but positive, and you can see with all the broken builds on YouTube when it comes to Falconer is that the Falcon itself is scaling off you. So the Falconer with the tree can scale off your crit, your throwing damage, your acid flask, your increases the damage, you know, per dex. It's crazy. So like when zero investment, your Falconer is going to be a huge damage increase. Again, the totality of the archetype, right? You can't have Explosive Trap do like crazy damage, or else the class would be even more broken than it already is, right? So that's one factor. The other big issue with Explosive Trap is that the mana cost sucks. If you invest into reducing the mana cost, now your area and your damage sucks. So what do? Well, I want to throw as many traps as possible, because if one trap does 100% damage, we throw 2 traps, now we're doing double. We throw 3 traps, now we're doing triple. Now, we throw 3 traps, but what if we throw another 3 traps off those 3 traps? So we're going to do that. So every time we use Explosive Trap, we are technically throwing 6 traps. Now, the 3 traps that trigger off the first 3 are going to cast their own Acid Flask. We convert Acid Flask to fire, and it does massive damage. Very good flat out of fire, very good crit multi from Acid Flask is one of our biggest damage sources. And you're going to get 3, so you're going to get 6 Explosive Traps a cast and 3 Acid Flasks a cast fire. But you do got to give it a little bit of time for the traps to arm, for the traps to throw themselves to enemies, and then for those traps to throw the Acid Flask. So there's a little bit of downtime window in our playstyle. So what that means is that instead of just doing nothing on our downtime and running around, what's going to happen is that our mana costs are really high due to getting more damage, more area, throwing more traps, and then triggering 3 traps off of our traps, right? For mana efficiency and like mana regen or mana on gear, what we're going to do is just go for the generator spender. And I don't want you to get turned off because, oh, I don't like the generator spender combo. Our generator is going to feel very good. So what is our generator going to be? How do we get to generate mana? Well, we are going to go with Cinder Strike, right? Now, before I go into Cinder Strike, I do want to say that the bow variant of this build would be better. But again, I am a hipster, and I thought, you know what, I just want to throw traps, and I want to be a throwing build that uses the traps and the Acid Flask that converts to fire, and make that the core, right? So that's why, before you go talk about the bow is a better variant, 100%. My core concept, I don't want to go that route. So, talking about Cinder Strike, we're going to use it as a melee skill, and what we're going to do is actually use the new unique that's going to buff our Falconer and our Cinder Strike. Because normally our generator Cinder Strike, we're not scaling melee damage. It would suck. It would feel terrible to actually use. With the massive free damage scaling that we get from not having a weapon, and remember, we're a throwing build. The weapon for a throwing build does not do much because those flat modifiers to melee don't affect throwing damage. We're not throwing the melee weapon per se. We're not throwing it. Like, the only thing that really affects us are affixes like crit chance, crit multi, and or for this case, fire damage. So we don't lose that much. We lose a couple increases, but the benefit to make our generator very good damage Because the thing about Cinder Strike is that now that we're doing good reliable damage due to the unique gloves, we also get good oil coating stacks, and we get massive free increases to fire damage, the increases the fire damage, the fire pen, the flat added fire, and then all the dodge rating and fire resist, right? So like just by being in melee, generating mana back after we dump it due to Falconers, the dive bomb, the feather strike, and explosive trap, now we generate it real quick due to Cinder Strike. And because of the gloves, because of the Cinder Strike tree, not only are we doing good Cinder Strike damage, losing almost nothing because the weapon affixes aren't going to compare to the benefits that we get from oil coating due to Cinder Strike. Now it feels very good to use that generator in melee. And plus, we're going to go with a shield. We're going to have a lot of dodge, a lot of armor. We're going to have over 50% block. We're going to have max glancing blows. So we're going to be fine in melee. You know, it's going to be very nice. And excuse me, I'm getting a little bit sick. But that's kind of the core playstyle. So we're going to go in there. We're going to explosive trap. And we're going to buff our explosive trap. And from there, the acid flash. From there, our Falconer is going to throw acid flash. And then the Cinder Strike oil coating is going to buff our whole kit. Alright guys, so that's talking about the totality of the build, right? And I actually am getting sick. It's crazy. So I don't want this to be a long video. Definitely not 20 or 30 minutes. But more of a brief overview. I'll link the last Epoch Tools so you can go in depth about what I'm doing. But a lot of the things in the skill tree are obvious. We're going to be in melee, so we get explosive traps on melee. Buff the Falconer as much as you can. We're going to scale Acid Flash to Fire, get all this free scaling, crit multi. Cinder Strike, we're going to focus entirely on oil coating because that's, you know, if you get 4 stacks, now you got 100% damage, 200 dodge rating, 20 flat fire damage, and like the more attack speed because we don't care about the Cinder Strike damage, even though the damage is very good thanks to Falcon Fist, but we just want to make the generator feel good and buffing our Acid Flash, which really is your big damage because the scaling is so crazy. If I min-max my gear a little bit more, get some more levels, like this build will get very good. And then from there, for your big burst, you're going to use Dive Bomb. I don't know why this skill does so much damage. It's completely bonkers. Like, it's just crazy to me. You know, you just get the more multipliers and instant cast on the tree. And, you know, it just feels very good. And then, you know, you get the Oppenheimer situation right here. And you might have seen it with the Arcane Mage. I'll go into that map in a little bit. But you get, you know, you got 9 traps that are exploding at once, getting the increased AoE and damage from Dive Bomb. And then Dive Bomb itself, like, I've seen it crit, like 50, 100k. Like, I don't know. Like, it's crazy. But, you know, a lot of this stuff's self-explanatory. We go into the map. You cast the explosive tribe, you Cinder Strike a little bit to get mana back, you know, and then, oh, spamming too much, sorry. Sometimes I get the right click and the other one mixed up a little bit, but, you know, that's pretty much it. And then for the big mobs, you can Falcon Strike, Feather Strike, and then Dive Bomb if you want. Like, it's just, like, crazy how much damage this thing does. So, to look at Explosive Strike real quick, we'll cast it one time. You get your 3, they trigger. A lot of the times they overlap because we invest in area a little bit. And then they're going to throw their own traps at enemies, right? So it triggers 3 times, and you see that it's actually throwing its own traps. And when they throw their own traps, that's when we get Acid Flash to be thrown by itself too, right? And then the Feather, the Falcon's doing really good damage by itself with 0 minion scaling, which is kind of crazy. But, you know, it's pretty damn cool. It's way better once we get the stacks rolling. Like 25% per stack is just kind of crazy. You know, like I don't know how the Dive Bomb thing, like, I'm surprised they're not gonna hotfix any builds, but it's just funny how like broken some of the aspects of a certain build are. Like, I really have awful gear for this one, and I know I say that a lot with my builds, but I enjoy the process of making a build and seeing it come to fruition, I guess. Really come together in monoliths and seeing like the beautiful explosions, the beautiful spell effects, and seeing how really good it can get in a monolith scenario. The single target is incredible. I think Falconer is actually stronger than Warlock. Might be controversial to say, but and I'm sorry, I'm not really clearing the map. Like, well, I'll actually try now. Hold on. But you know, I'm trying to talk and show you guys how like the build really works. But it's very good. Increase LE resist and less damage. But that's pretty much how it plays. It's super simple. It's a very, very fast to build. I'm not playing too fast right now, but you can really just trap Cinder Strike 1, 2, or 3 times and run around, and then Falcon Bomb, Feather Strike where you need to. And that really just clears like the whole map, like the whole like screen. It really does like take care of it. Now, do need to increase damage in a lot of spots, get a better Falcon's Fist, hopefully get a +4, +4, and then a +2 legendary potential. That would help a lot. But you'll just see here, like, ooh, that's not good. But like the damage is just nuts. Ooh. Yeah, and then a lot of like rare bosses, what you can do is try to get the Oppenheimer combo. You trap and then you use your dive bomb to get the let's see if I can do it here. Did a one shot, but so a lot of the times like you'll do like 100k combined damage just with that combo. It's like kind of crazy. Ah, damn it. But that's pretty much it. That's kind of how it plays. It plays very, very, very well. And then our tankiness is going to come from armor, dodge, block. We get full glancing blows. And another thing about Explosive Trap is that it scales with our Dust Shroud. So we get Dust Shrouds on hit, and then for every Shroud, we get +1 flat damage. So it's not a lot. I kind of wish this was +2. It would feel more impactful. But any more multiplier flat added damage is going to be very, 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 very good. Ooh, double exalted. So that's that. My loot filter sucks. I mean, if you guys want to use it, I'd kind of just recolor the double exalts this way, and then I'm still looking for shields, and then I'm looking for like just normal affixes when it comes to armor with the survivability, like the rogue affixes, and then if those are good and they have a combined and they're exalted, then I'll look at it, right? Like these I won't even look at because I know that they don't have the affixes I want. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. Nothing really too crazy, but I think it's a cool build. Just know that really like this build needs to be played fast. Like if you really want to maximize this build, you have to be in melee. You have to use your mobility reliably. You have to get your feather your Talon Blades from your Feather Strikes, not your Feather Strikes, but your Dive Bomb Feather Storm. And you want to be in melee and get as many Dust Shroud stacks as possible, because not only does it increase your tankiness, you get the crit avoidance, you get the glancing blows. Hold on. Where is it? Why can't I see it? Oh, there you go, 100%. Yeah, but you get your max glancing blows, which is huge. And then you just get more armor, block. So you have a lot of layered defensive with this build, which makes going into melee very reliable. And you see here, like, clearing the packs is just... It feels good, man. It feels really, really good. But, you know, this is definitely, like... I don't want to say... It's not a glass build. Well, I'm thinking, like, it's not like a feast or famine build, but this build is going to get stronger and stronger the more in melee you are. So, like, you actually probably want to Cinder Strike a lot more than I am, just to get the buffs up, and then cast once or twice, and then, you know, see all that huge benefit when it comes to, all the oil coating stacks, right, through Acid Flask. And remember, like, even if you just Cinder Strike around, you still have your Falcon that's utilizing the Acid Flask too, that are scaling with fire, which is very, very huge. I'm getting, like, blown up this map. It's crazy. But if you see my resist, that's why. It's not the build, guys. It's because my gear sucks. And, again, that's it. I really don't want to talk too much. Not the best showcase, but, you know, pretty much a proof of concept. And, again, talking about the gloves... They are insane. Try to get a 2 LP at least, and then preferably throwing damage. Even melee attack speed would be good, because get your stacks up faster. And then, like, the flat added damage, like, if you don't have these gloves, your Cinder Strike is just terrible. Like, yeah, you would have a weapon, you know, right? But, like, just think about how crazy these gloves are when it comes to damage. So our generator doesn't feel bad. And that's that. Let me talk about the tree real quick. I'll leave the link so you can see more in depth. But a couple of key notes. Don't go all the way here because we do want block chance. Because we get so much block chance from decks, just from other sources, our shield. You know, block is good. And we get a lot of free block effectiveness from the shield. Like, we block a hit, we take 43% less damage. That's better than Glancing Blow. It's not a 100% chance to block. But, again, like any ARPG, you want to layer your defensives, right? My little baby Fiona, I'll just show her. But yeah, that's it. I'll link the last Epoch Tools in here so you guys can get the full picture. I don't want this to be super in depth, super long video. Another key note with the Blade Master is to get the Dust Shroud chance. We want as high a chance as possible because not only does it increase our tankiness, but it increases our damage due to Explosive Trap. Talked about the loot filter. I unequipped the glove, so I gotta fix that. But I think that's really it. I might not do a follow-up video to this because I know the build is gonna be disgusting, like scaling it. Like it's gonna be crazy, and it's mostly due to Falconer being busted, not really me being a build genius, like, to be honest with you. But you know, I might do another full build guide on this, but this might suffice just because the last Epoch tool should give you all the info you need. There's not a lot of things going on here, nothing really unique. You Cinder Strike to get your buff up, generate mana, you Explosive Trap, and you use your cooldowns when they're up. That's really it. Mobility when you can. There are other options here, but I'm not going to really talk about it, maybe in the full build guide. And of course, if you want to really min-max and break the game, just do this as a bow. Probably do it as a marksman and scale detonating arrow. And you'd be really, really crazy broken. Most of the Underground Tech here. I hope you guys have a good one and enjoyed.